Jain friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya
The
Dialogues
Americans have
English.
suffered failure, the Chinese have suffered failure, the Russians have suffered failure, the Indians have suffered failure, the Pakistanis have never tried, so we don't know about the Pakistanis.
Right.
And the more damage those weapons cause to the Russians, the deeper the Russia-China bonding happens, and it's not good news for the world.
Jain friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Russia's Luna 25 lander has failed to enter orbit. You know, the pre-landing orbit of the moon, it has failed to enter. Russia's Luna 25 was supposed to land 1 or 2 days before Chandrayaan 3. I don't know why Russia's moon mission was done in such a hurry, because I follow Russian news and I did not get much of information on this. I knew that they had this program and they were trying something, but suddenly, all of a sudden, it blasts out in the news that Russia is planning to launch this moon mission. And now apparently there is a glitch, but these glitches will happen. This glitch happened with Chandrayaan 2 also. It happens with everybody. It happens all the time. The Americans have suffered failure. The Chinese have suffered failure. The Russians have suffered failure. The Indians have suffered failure. The Pakistanis have never tried, so we don't know about the Pakistanis. But the fact of the matter is that we wish the Russians all the best. The Russians are our friends, they're brothers, and the ideal situation would be that Luna 25 and Chandrayaan 3 land on the south pole of the moon together. That would be the ideal thing, which I hope as an Indian, I pray as an Indian that it happens. Now there is some sort of a complication, and I hope that they sort of manage this complication, and if there is a delay, that's all right. But I just hope that Russia's mission in the end is successful. Russia needs a win. Russia needs a solid global win, which I pray to God that Russia gets. Now, the Taiwanese vice president had visited the United States of America, and from there he had gone to other countries, which China did not like. China said that nothing doing, and Taiwan is a part of China, the People's Republic of China. It's not an independent country. It is part of the One China philosophy, and Taiwan will be punished. So in order to punish Taiwan, what the Chinese have done is massive military exercises all around Taiwan, water, air, everything, trying to psych Taiwan. I believe 42 aircraft have crossed over into Taiwan's airspace and gone back just to pass a message to Taiwan. It's also sort of a dare, that we have entered your airspace, what can you do? If you have the guts, shoot down one of our aircraft and then we'll show you. Taiwan has maintained silence, and Taiwan has said, stop all this nonsense. Stop these games of brinksmanship. It won't do you any good, because we will continue to do exactly what we have been doing so far. And here, I'd like to say that, for too far and too much and too long a time, the world has mollycoddled China. Earlier, China was an unknown quantity. So people said, we don't really care about China because we don't know about China, because everything is so secretive and nobody bothered. The world got a little nervous after Tiananmen Square because of the massive human rights violations, but that was also largely kept under wraps by the Chinese, the government, the Chinese Communist Party. But much of it got out, including that iconic image of the man standing with shopping bags, in front of the tank and all that. So that became a rallying point for democratic forces all over the world. Now, what China does is that China operates under the radar. So when China's economy started going up, and Chinese saw economic superstardom, two things happened. A, the West became more and more dependent upon China. You want a cheap microwave, you want a cheap washing machine, you want a cheap car. You want a cheap watch or a cheap television set or a cheap motorcycle. And where is all the cheap stuff built? It's built in China. And who does not want cheap stuff? Which meant more profits for Wall Street, right? But it also meant manufacturing moving out of America and Europe, largely. So manufacturing largely moved out of America and Europe into China. China benefited. That was the first change. Second change is the arrogance of the Chinese. The Chinese were always arrogant. They were always an arrogant people, extremely arrogant people. They call themselves the Middle Kingdom. They say that we are the center of this earth. That is what the Chinese believe. Falsely so, but that's what they believe. Now, the thing is that, You see, this arrogance earlier, as I always say, there is intent and capability. The intent was always there. The intent to threaten the West. It was always there in China. But China did not have capability. Over the past 40 years, China has built up that capability, and now every single national security document of America, of Australia, of Japan, of Germany, of Italy, of France says that China is the primary national security threat for that particular country. NATO's national security documents say that China is now slowly and slowly becoming NATO, which was largely Russia focused, and even now is largely Russia focused, today realizes that, the threat primarily emanates from China. And what is actually rattling the West? It is the Russian and the Chinese closeness. Because the more you supply weapons, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, very carefully, the more you supply weapons to the Ukrainians, right? And the more damage those weapons cause to the Russians, the deeper the Russia-China bonding happens, and it's not good news for the world. This is exactly what Vivek Ramaswamy, the US presidential hopeful, he wants to fight on the Republican ticket. And I have heard his speeches, and I think the guy makes a lot of sense. He's talking basic stuff, okay? This guy is not talking any complicated or sophisticated stuff. He's talking very basic, commonsensical stuff, which everybody must listen to. And he says that, this entire thing that Russia must lose, that is wrong. Because I think Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't know about his background. I know he's made a lot of money. He needs a very successful businessman. I know that. But beyond that, I don't know very much. Yeah. But I know one thing, that this guy is smart. This guy knows history. He's read up on history. He has gray matter. And he says something very simple and something that I have maintained for a very long time. The whole idea that Russia must lose cannot be the end game of this war, because Russia will not lose. Russia will not lose. Russia will do whatever Russia needs to do to win, or even come to a stalemate sort of a situation. So anybody who thinks that they can keep on indefinitely supplying weapons to Ukraine and that Russia will lose, that's not going to happen. Vivek Ramaswamy says, and I found this very impressive because of the simplicity of his thought process, because of the sheer logic of his thought process. He says that, hey guys, listen here. You must find out a solution where Russia does not lose, but America wins. The aim should be that America should win. Russia should lose is not an aim. America should win is the aim. How does America win? America does not win by Russia losing. So, now I'll come back to the point and I'll tell you why I'm saying this. This whole thing about, this whole strategy about, China staring at the world, staring down at the world. This monster called China has been created by the United States of America and created by Europe, because they got used to cheap microwave ovens and cheap cars and cheap motorcycles and cheap washing machines and cheap bulbs and cheap pencils and cheap pens and cheap erasers and whatever cheap. Everything cheap came out of China. And today they say it's a national security threat. Of course it is, because you funded that national security threat. You were the guys who went to the forest, right? Who found out that bottle, who knew that there was a genie inside the bottle. You open the bottle's cork and now the genie has come out and you don't know what to do with it, right? The Pandora's box is open, and that is China for you. Now, what Europe and America are doing is slowly they're pulling back. They're telling their companies, do not invest in China, right? Especially in critical technologies. They're saying, move your manufacturing elsewhere. Rather than giving, I'll tell you the way, one of the ways you can end this war peacefully is, rather than giving billions of dollars to Ukraine to fight that war, have a diplomatic, outreach to Russia, to Ukraine, to India, to China, and the other stakeholders. India is a stakeholder, China is a stakeholder, because, both China and India are very close to Russia. And Russia listens to India and China. So rather than talking at Russia, talk to Russia. And this money that you're wasting on Ukraine, this money, the billions of dollars, incentivize own companies, incentivize American companies with those billions of dollars to move out of China into countries like India, into countries that have similar democratic values, similar liberal values, countries that understand the power of democracy. Just because you wanted a cheap microwave, you funded a dictator. And now you're getting scared of that. In Hindi, I don't know how many of you understand Hindu, the Hindu past, Hindu history, or Hindu traditions. Many of you may be foreigners, many of you may not know about this at all, and many of you Indians who are listening and will know. There was this demon called Bhasmasur. And Bhasmasur wanted to destroy Lord Shiva, the very god that gave him the powers to destroy. The West, I'm not equating anybody with anybody here, but I'm just giving an academic example. The West created a Bhasmasur in the shape of China, and now the West is suffering, and West does not know what to do with this Bhasmasur called China. In another news, and this comes from Dawn.com, Pakistan's primary English newspaper, though I wonder why Pakistan still has an English newspaper. They say that Pakistan strongly condemns the desecration of the Holy Quran. It seems that another guy from a far-right political party, and I've been warning about these far-right political parties in Europe and parties that are closet fascists or even borderline fascists or openly fascist. Some of these parties are. And this guy is called Edwin Wagensveld, and he leads the Dutch branch of the far-right group Pegida. So this person stormed over a copy of the Quran with his feet. He desecrated the Quran and then he tore up the pages. Now, why are they doing it? Why is the far right, why are all these fascist parties in Europe doing all this? I think, and this is my thinking, first of all, Pakistan condemning it has zero value because Pakistan itself has zero value, right? Tomorrow, if the Europeans say that we will withdraw GSP plus status from Pakistan, Pakistan will keep quiet and say, okay, you're burning the Quran, please keep on burning, don't tell us. It's all a matter of money. Pakistanis will sell themselves for a few dollars. And, actually there's an American lawyer who said in court, and it's very famous, you can ask any Pakistani, they might get very angry, but it's true. This lawyer said in court, he said that the Pakistanis can sell their mothers for a few dollars. Please go and look up this statement on Google. Pakistanis can sell their mothers for a few dollars. This is what the Americans felt about the Pakistanis. They still do. So Pakistanis condemning the desecration of the Quran has got zero value. Somebody will give them some money. They made the cartoons of the Holy Prophet. All the Pakistanis got very angry that no relationship with France and nothing to do with France and hell with France and attack France and nuclear bomb France. And then one day France said, okay, no, don't cry. Here is a check of $320 million US. And suddenly France became the best country in the world. Look it up. Look it up. France gave money to Pakistan. Pakistan accepted that money. And as soon as Pakistan took that check, Pakistan forgot that it was a French newspaper that had made cartoons of the Holy Prophet. Because dollar trumps Islam as far as Pakistan is concerned. The dollar is at top. Islam comes a close third. You see? Now, I'll tell you this whole thing about, this news about Pakistan condemns desecration of the Quran in Netherlands. All these guys, what do they want? All these fascists, what do they actually want? I think, and it is my analysis, and I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. My analysis is that they actually want an Islamist terror attack on European soil. They actually want that. And the radical Islamists also want that. So, the fascists and the radical Islamists in Europe or all over the world are partners in this. When I say partners, I don't mean they're planning it together. Partners in thinking is what I'm saying. Let me be categorical. Partners in thinking. They want a terror attack. These guys also want a terror attack. And once you have a major terror, God forbid it should happen. God forbid it should happen. But if you have a major terror attack on European soil, this political seismic activity in Europe, the landscape of Europe will change. And you will again have these kind of fascist parties come to power. And then, God forbid if a fascist political party comes to power in France, let us say, that young kid got killed by police firing. In police firing, he got killed. And then so many Moroccans and Yemenis and all these immigrants, they burnt half of France. Just imagine. Instead of Emmanuel Macron, imagine if there was a fascist leader in France, what would have happened? Imagine. Or in Netherlands, or in Denmark, what would happen? The army would be out on the streets shooting people left, right, and center. Because this is what fascists do. And this is what radical Islamists don't understand. They look at very benign and very soft Europeans and they say, oh, these guys we can fool, these guys we can control, and probably convert. That is what radical Islamists think. They do not know that in front of fascists, Osama bin Laden will start to look benign. He'll look like this elderly, soft uncle, who loves playing with kids. You have not seen fascists, and any radical Islamist has any sense of history, he will realize what forces you are letting loose in Europe. I'm saying this time and again because I want to tell you guys, because this video is going to be there in YouTube for a long, long time, I hope. And one day you'll realize that when you empower fascist forces. In India, we use fascist as a term of abuse because we have never seen fascism in our lives. So we use it as a term, we use it for political finger pointing. If somebody does not like you or somebody opposes you, oh, he's a fascist, he's a fascist. No, we have not seen fascism in India, and I hope we never will. But Europe has lived under fascism, and they realize what a big problem it is. The more soft the governments in Europe become, the more fascist powers will come to the fore. If there is a terror attack, see the results in the next elections. They are not going to simply kill protesters. If they happen to be immigrants, get ready for boats. Get ready for boats taking off from Denmark, from Norway, from France. Heaven forbid if the fascists should come to power, but if they do, get ready for these large boats full of immigrants being sent back to the country of their origin. Their passports and their citizenship rights withdrawn. This is going to happen, and there is nothing that can stop it. I'm telling you. And the last news of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is that the ex-ISRO chief suggests that this is Dr. Sivan, Dr. K. Sivan, huge fan of Dr. Sivan and his work and his contributions. Sir, massive salute. And your statement, I 110% agree. You know what Dr. Sivan says? Beautiful. Dr. Sivan says, the days of frugal engineering are over. Frugal engineering is not enough. India is saying that we can make a rocket at 1/10 the American. That is okay. That is okay. But that can't be a USP. We need bigger rockets. We need more powerful rockets. Here is his exact statement. He says, we need bigger rockets and better systems. Frugal engineering is not enough. We need powerful rockets and advanced technology. The former ISRO chief added that one positive step by the government is opening up space activities to private industries. He said that private sector's interest is evident and results are already emerging. I'm sure they will soon be able to take up high-end technology as well. Investment won't be a problem. So this is Hindustan Times. This is what is happening. You see, this whole thing about us Indians being obsessed that, we can launch a rocket, and that's true also. It's not obsession, it's true. It's true that we can launch rockets at a lesser cost than a Hollywood movie. We can send a moon mission for very less. And we can do all of that. That's fine. But what next? This can't be your USP. This can't be the fact that ISRO sends cheap rockets into space. That's okay. What next? Like Dr. Sivan said, more powerful rockets, better technology, better engineering, right? So that our next mission doesn't go around the earth and around the moon forever and ever. It's a boom. Okay, something malfunctioned with the Russian rockets, but with the Russian lander. But the fact is that Russia launched this mission after us, and it was supposed to land before us. Malfunctions happen. It's happened with us also in Chandrayaan 2, right? It's happened with us also. So nothing to worry about. Russia will become successful. If not this mission, next mission. I hope this mission they're able to salvage and become successful. But the fact of the matter is, we need more powerful rockets. Because budget rockets will not do any longer. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.